James stood in the crystalline chamber of the Archelian diplomatic vessel, his hands clenched inside the ceremonial gloves they'd forced upon him. Through the translucent walls, he could see Earth shrinking to a blue marble against the void. He'd never wanted this. None of humanity's 50,000 colonists, scattered across the Proxima system, had wanted this. But the Archelian Concordat had been clear: marry Princess Aliana, the youngest of the royal bloodline, or watch humanity's fragile settlements burn under antimatter fire. You may turn around now. James Chen of Earth, a voice said behind him. Melodic, yet carrying an undertone of something ancient and vast. He turned. Aliana stood 3 meters away, draped in garments that seemed woven from liquid starlight. Her appearance was humanoid enough the Archelians had clearly engineered themselves for cross-species diplomacy. Pale lavender skin, eyes like molten gold. Features that could pass for human if not for the subtle wrongness in their proportions. She was beautiful in the way a perfectly rendered hologram was beautiful. Technically flawless, but somehow hollow. I know you despise this arrangement, Aliana said, her voice now devoid of ceremony. I see it in the tension of your muscles, the dilation of your pupils, the chemical markers of stress in your exhalations. Your body betrays you, even if your diplomacy does not. James forced himself to remain still. With respect, Princess, I'm here because my people will die if I'm not. Honesty. How refreshing. She moved closer, her movements too fluid, too precisely calculated. Let me offer you honesty in return. This marriage is not what you think it is. Before James could respond, Aliana raised one slender hand. The air around her began to shimmer, distorting like heat waves rising from sun-baked concrete. Her form flickered, and James felt his stomach drop as the implications crashed through his mind. The lavender skin began to crack, not like flesh tearing, but like a shell breaking. Beneath it, something else emerged, something that made his doctorate in xenobiology seem laughably inadequate. What stood before him now defied easy classification. Aliana's true form was approximately the same size, but that's where similarities ended. Her body was composed of what appeared to be controlled plasma, held in place by fields he could only guess at. Structures that might have been organs pulsed with bioluminescence deep within the translucent energy matrix. Where her head had been, there was now a complex arrangement of sensory apparatus that reminded him of both coral and circuit boards. The Archelian form you saw is, what would you call it? A biosynthetic interface. Her voice emerged from the plasma itself, no longer requiring vocal cords. We abandoned our original biology 17,000 years ago. What you call the Archelian Concordat is actually a distributed intelligence network spanning 14 star systems. James found his voice, though it came out as barely a whisper. Then why this? Why the deception? Why force a marriage? The plasma that was Aliana pulsed with colors that might have been amusement or something more complex. Because we're dying, James. Our civilization achieved technological transcendence, but we lost something in the process. We can no longer evolve. We've become static, trapped in the patterns we've optimized ourselves into. We've spent millennia trying to solve this problem through pure computation. But the answer keeps pointing to something we eliminated: biological chaos. She moved closer, and James could feel the heat radiating from her true form, could smell ozone and something else, something that registered in his hindbrain as fundamentally other. Your species is young, chaotic, inefficient, and beautiful in ways we can no longer achieve. This marriage isn't about politics or conquest. It's about data exchange at the most fundamental level. Through our bonding, I will share my consciousness with yours. Experience the biological randomness of your neural patterns, the way your thoughts cascade through quantum uncertainty in your neurons. And you ... James asked, his scientific curiosity beginning to override his fear. You will gain access to 17,000 years of accumulated knowledge. You'll understand physics that won't be discovered by human science for another 1,000 years. You'll see the universe as we see it, not through electromagnetic radiation alone, but through gravitational waves, quantum entanglement, and dimensions your current neurology can't even perceive. The plasma flickered, reshaping itself into something between her humanoid form and her true state. But more than that, you'll become a bridge. The data we gather from our union will help my people remember how to change, how to grow again. And your people will gain the knowledge to survive what's coming. What's coming? James felt cold despite the heat. 3.7 light-years from here, a stellar civilization called the Kresh Dominion is expanding. They're even older than us, and they view younger species as resources to be harvested. In 53 years, they'll reach the Proxima colonies. In 207 years, they'll reach Earth, without our knowledge. Humanity has a 0.02% chance of survival. James looked at the being that was Princess Aliana, no longer seeing a captor or an alien threat, but a desperate entity seeking salvation through an unlikely alliance. The irony wasn't lost on him. Two dying civilizations. One too chaotic and the other too ordered. Reaching across the void to save each other? So this marriage, he said slowly, it's not about control. It's about synthesis. Yes. The plasma coalesced back into her humanoid form. But now James could see the energy patterns beneath the biosynthetic skin, could appreciate the engineering marvel of it. The question remains, James Chun of Earth, knowing the truth, will you consent freely to what was forced upon you? He thought of the 50,000 colonists, of the 8 billion people on Earth, of the vast tapestry of human achievement and stupidity that might end before it truly began. He thought of his own curiosity, the driving force that had led him to study xenobiology in the first place. The desperate, human need to understand the other. James extended his hand. I consent. Let's save two civilizations. Aliana's golden eyes, now windows to something far stranger and more wonderful, met his own. As their hands touched, James felt the first tendrils of her consciousness reach into his mind, and the universe suddenly became impossibly larger and infinitely more complex than he'd ever imagined. The marriage ceremony, it turned out, was just beginning.